Islam, Islam, Islam. Welcome to our Moorish Islamic Sufi Sunday School. This is Moorish Science Temple of America, 1928, styled in the Moorish Temples of Islam. As we are Sheikh Jakarta Mecca Bay, we'll be opening up our class with prayer. Those who are of our faith may join us. Those who are not, you can remain silent. All is well. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islam. As this is Grand Temple number 2, located here in Decatur, Georgia. Uh, we first, each and every day, we rise and we give eternal praise to Allah. We give highest honors to our holy and divine prophet, Noble Drali. As we praise Allah, as Allah is the only one who is praiseworthy. He is gracious and most magnificent. He is oft-giving and merciful. Allah is the one of the day of judgment. As our prophet declares, his judgment is now on, since we have a prophet, since we have one who has come to show us the way, one who is set aside by Allah himself to teach us the necessary things that will keep us on the straight path, that will guide us to the path for those who are looking. As we praise Allah, as He is the only one who is praiseworthy, and we can never repay the debt which we owe up unto Allah. It is the gratitude that we have, that we continue to show to Allah's prophets and His teachings. As we give high honors to our holy and divine prophet, Noble Drali, who is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, the educational branch of the Moorish nation. It is by being an active member of the Moorish Science Temple of America one may claim his nationality, and one will be taught his divine creed. One will be taught his way of life, of living as a Muslim. As we give honors to the prophet and who the prophet gave honors to, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, to name a few of the divine prophets. As we recognize that each prophet came to a particular people, and each prophet mission by Allah was given to him directly. And that on the day of judgment, as it is revealed in the Quran of Mecca, that Allah will call those prophets, and He will ask for an account of His members. How did the people I sent for you to teach, how did they receive you? And they will bear witness to the account whether you, as a member, a follower of that prophet's teachings, was with him or against him, or you were nowhere around, nowhere to be found. We give praises to Allah for giving us the time and opportunity as we receive our prophet, and as our prophet is teaching us how to repent from our sinful ways, how to get away and turn our back on sin and live a godly life, a life full of consciousness, of thinking and contemplating our frame before the actions are taken in any situations. Those actions, be it from person to person, the action of even thinking. The prophet said, if I can get you to think, teach you to think about what? Think about how to think, how to reason. All of these things the prophet has instituted through the agenda in the Moorish Science Temple of America. As we give honors to St. Marcus of Saragossa, the harbinger, the John the Baptist of this era time, the one who did declare the Negro needed a nationality and wanted one, equal to that of the Chinese, the Japanese, the German, and the Jew. And we give honors to St. Mark's Messiah Garvey's organization, as it was a forerunner. It was a draw to bring Asiatics together under one concept, to bring them together in order to facilitate and be prepared for the coming prophet. As we give honors to the first Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America, St. Edward Miliel. He was appointed by the Holy Divine Prophet to the position of Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and was approved and accepted by the Great Grand Body of 1928. We give honors for him as he was able to maintain and carry out the discharge of the office to the best of his human abilities. We also given a special honor this day to our Grand Sheik, our Sheik of Islam here in the West. We affectionately call the Chief of Ministers, Sheikh Dr. Ras Sadiel, as he is also our Moorish Mahdi, which means he is a reformer. The Reformation is to reinstall Islam back to the temples of Islam as founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We also give honors to those who are on his staff. Those are the trustee board, those are the Sheikh board, and of course, those are the grand body, the grand governors and governors, the grand sheiks, the grand sheikas, adepts, members, friends, and sympathizers. We give honors to you this day. And those who are in association, those who are in the forward actions of uplifting fallen humanity in whatever capacity their organizations are able to do. We give them honor this day. And of course, you have to recognize the old adversary, as he is continually doing what he does, which is called death, destruction, mayhem, and confusion. So we give honors, give him his honor, because he never takes a vacation. He never calls in sick, and he continues to do what it is that he has been assigned to do. We're talking about the old devil himself, the one that people continue to fall for his trickery. We, the Muslims, we hold on to Allah. We hold on to the teachings of the Prophet. We practice and we study. And we make our life a walking and living prayer, as our Mahdi has taught us that these things are because we must submit to Allah. And as far as whoever this person, worn, ill, travel, truck, whatever, all these questions that you ask, what benefit are they to you? In earnest, what benefit are they to you? Because your questions indicate or imply that you know a thing or two, or perhaps you believe you do. And if that's the case, then you answer your own questions. So, this is the topic for today from this part. And that is Sura 10, verse 47. But first, we're going to read the prophethood. As you say, we're going to read it because this was written by some scholars from the East. These are accredited scholars. And within this reading, it is giving and setting the precedence for the prophethood. It says, when it becomes clear that a certain person is a true prophet of Allah, the natural result of this realization is that his word should be accepted, his instructions followed, and his orders obeyed. It is unreasonable to accept a man as Allah's true prophet and yet not follow what he ordains. Your acceptance of him as Allah's prophet means you have acknowledged that what he says is from Allah Almighty, and that whatever he does is in accordance with Allah's will and pleasure. Now, the disobedience of Allah is the disobedience of the prophet is the disobedience of Allah. And the disobedience of Allah leads to nothing but ruin and devastation. Therefore, the very acceptance of the prophet makes it incumbent upon you to bow to his instructions and accept them without any hesitations whatsoever. You may not fully understand the wisdom and the usefulness of this or that order, but the very fact that instruction has emanated from the prophet is sufficient guarantee for its truth, and there can be no room for doubt or suspicion. Your inability to understand it is no reason for its having a flaw or defect, for a common man's understanding is not flawless. It has its own limitations, and they cannot be ignored altogether. Islam. As we open up and we lay the formalities of the meeting as prescribed by the prophet, and is taught to those who continue to teach the generations from that day to this day. As following this same line, we understand that protocol is a must in order to keep in alignment with the law. Now, as far as the teachings, these are the teachings that we must study. We must take the time and effort to study. As the prophet has laid out what it is that we are about from the historical account, as he declared that the Moorish Science Temple of America, from its inception until its progress and its membership increasing, and those who are learning and being taught, he said the organization was founded as a civic organization, but because of the teachings being largely religious, he reformulated the organizational structure and amended it to and changed it to a religious corporation. And by doing so, he removed the government out of the organization completely. So Allah directing the prophet directing those who are members. Islam is the religion that we as Moorish Americans must adhere to, according to the prophet and according to the dictate of his divine intentions for the organization. So, therefore, we, Moorish American Muslims here in the Moorish Science Temple of America 1928, we are predominantly religious in all factions of Islam. Now, what we do and how we practice, Prophet has already laid that out. For all those Moorish Americans who have joined the Moorish Science Temple of America, and you have a Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, you have a divine constitution and bylaws for the Moorish Science Temple of America. You have the Quran questions for Moorish children for the Moorish Science Temple of America. Within these three documents, it is declared, it is proclaimed, it is defined that you must practice Islam. Now, everything that comes with it, from the articles of clothing that you wear, from the language that you communicate with, and from your actions as you move forward throughout your day with your brother and sister, with those strangers, with the neighbors, co-workers, etc. You do it in the best of ways by utilizing the lessons that you've learned from the teachings of Islam. Now, this being the focal point, we must also remind each and every Moorish American that our way of practicing Islam is the way our prophet instituted and set up for us to practice. It is from the Moorish perspective because we think morally, we act morally, we do things which are recognized and termed as being Moorish. Not Arabic, not Iranian, Iraqian, Jordanian, Syrian, Dubaian, Jamaican, Costa Rican, Puerto Rican, etc. No, we do as we are Moorish Americans. We practice Islam from the Moorish perspective. And each and every tool that the Prophet has left for us and instructed us to utilize is spelled out in those three documents I mentioned. Now, if you're familiar with Islam, you know of the five pillars of Islam that you should be aware of. But there are more aspects to it than just those five pillars. The first and foremost is what I just read, and that is Allah Himself is Allah. And if you believe that, and the prophet that brought you this message, the prophet that brought you that declaration, you must follow him, because what he has gained and what he has received from Allah, he has taught those who he left with special instructions. And to continue on in this tradition, you, in fact, are practicing Islam from the Moorish perspective. So I'm going to read you, I'm going to say read because most times we give a lesson, we don't have to read just to get the point. But for many people, they're always concerned, well, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? Who said that? Who said this? Well, the point is whether who said it or not, is it true? Does it net any type of benefit to you? You know what benefits you, and you know what doesn't. You know what you're searching for when you hear it, when you see it. No one has to tell you unless you're faking. So we're going to go to Surah 10, 47 through 49. I'm going to read it as it is, and then we're going to speak on it briefly. I say briefly because we have other teachers coming, and time is of essence. Surah 10:47 from the Quran of Mecca. And this is revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, as Muhammad is demonstrating. He says, for every nation there is a messenger. And when their messenger comes, justice is done among them. They are not wronged. 48. They say, now these are the ones questioning the prophet. They say, when will this promise of punishment be fulfilled if what you say be true? So they're questioning their prophet who has already brought them their revelation, but they are concerned about other people. In other words, this is where the so-called thought of Prophet Muhammad's the last prophet. Prophet Muhammad is sealed as a prophet. Prophet Muhammad is the prophet of the world. Here, the prophet could have agreed with all of those statements. But here's what the prophets say. Surah 49. Say, I have no power to hurt or benefit myself, except by the will of Allah. A term is fixed for every nation. When their term comes, they cannot put it off an hour, nor can they hasten it. He says when their term comes, he wasn't talking about the term that he's in. The term he's in is for the Arabians at that hour. And he says he got nothing to do with the other messengers that's coming to other nations. But these are the people because their concern is how can we control those people under this coming prophet? How can we get ahead of this prophet so that we will benefit? It says, prophet said, I don't benefit from this. So whether it's put off an hour or it's advanced an hour, I gain nothing. I have no power. He said, I have no power to hurt. Hurt is injure. Hurt is interfere. Hurt is to discourage. Hurt is all of those things that usurp someone else's authority and power. Now, we teach Islam here. We don't teach more science. You know, everyone loves these quote unquote terms, cool terms. You know, the world is full of cool terms. The world has always been full of cool terms. I mean, even Iblis had a cool term. He said, you want me to bow to this man that you made of mud. He said, man is made of mud. You want me to bow to it. That's a cool term, made of mud. But look how many followed him in his cool term. They still following him in his cool terms. Even the more science is a cool term. They've done used the law governs all events as a cool term. But in essence, the prophet has already termed out or distinguished how he wants this to go, and that he will not tolerate any interference in the mildest form. You know, on the holy day, we were speaking about the interference. The UCC, that's an interference. The sovereignty, that's an interference. The zodiac, that's an interference. Hell, even the peace and friendship treaty, as Ahmadi demonstrates over and over, is an interference, because the person who is holding it up don't know what they have. They're basically holding up an auction paper, because that's what that paper is saying. Those who are ransomed, those who are held captive, those will be exchanged for money. So you holding up this document like it's the end all be all, and all it's saying is, yeah, we got a bunch of Negroes here. How much you give us for them? Well, what about the ones who have identity? Well, we don't know unless they tell us. That's what the prophet said. If there is a call, for nationality, make sure you put it down in your dealings. Then they know who they're dealing with. That's the beautifulness of learning the prophet's teaching and the way of life living as a Moorish American Muslim, is that he gives you the scenario of what can happen if you deter away from Allah. He gives you the problem, and then he gives you the remedy. And then he says, now, Allah has given each of us free will, or so we think. But there's only one will that must be done. That's Allah's will. You know, other than that, you can do whatever you want. In Islam, there is no compulsion for you to believe as I believe. There is no compulsion for you to practice as I practice. There's no compulsion for you to zikr with your beads or not. And you can wear them around your neck. They serve the same purpose. This is to get your attention. But when it's utilized And when you're taught how to, why to, when to, and if you need to, that's the picture that you need to be focusing on, not what someone has on. See, we don't get offended. This is teachable, this is education, because it says the Sunday school come the guiders of the nation. How do they know how to guide if they're not being taught? They must be taught. I didn't say crash course, cram the information down your throat, but they must be taught in steps and degrees and levels, because during the prophet's term, in the historical accounts and records of the first Supreme Grand Council that was set, if you look at what happened, all but two was removed from their positions because they were raised too fast in this knowledge, this wisdom, this divine knowledge, this divine wisdom from the prophet. They actually believed and contended that they knew what to do with the organization, that they didn't have to listen to the prophet. Check that out. They didn't have to listen to what the prophets say. They themselves said, I can lead you on. Lomax Bay. You don't have to send no money here because I'm taking over. Or they could be like Claude D. Green. Well, since he's away, the mice will play. Since the cat's away, the mice play, right? He upset this man's house. In our chapter of justice say that's a grave injustice that can never be repaired. You know. So these individuals and their actions was on display, full display, because they were raised in this knowledge too fast. I talked to our minister, and I say, well, I've seen a lot of people join the organization. I've seen some who actually became citizens within the nation of the Moorish Americans in the Moorish Science Temple of America. And they were eloquent speakers, articulate. They were persuasive influencers. They were down, as our Mahdi would say. But one thing they were missing, and that was the truthfulness for the prophet and his teachings. What they were doing was the dog and pony show. It was selfish. It was for their own gain. And when these things are found out, punishment must come. That's why this Sura says, no one is wronged. When their prophet comes, that's when the law is put on you. So when you join the Moorish Science Temple of America, when you become a Moorish American here, the Moorish Science Temple of America 1928, the law is put on you. You must abide by the law, the rules, the regulations, the dictates. Other than that, why come join? You can do what you want to do out there, over there, as we say. All of these things you don't want to hear to, do it over there. Don't come here, because we're going to put the law on you. So yes, some of those individuals gained too much knowledge too fast and didn't know how and what to do with it. But that's when their ego was inflated to the maximum. Each and every one of us had a school teacher when we were coming up that we favored. Then we had one that we did not favor. But guess what? We learned lessons from both. Now, we did not disrespect those teachers. That was not part of the protocol when we were coming up. You didn't respect your elders. Whether you agreed with them or not, you didn't disrespect them. Now, if you could prove them wrong, that's something totally different. But 9 out of 10, they were teaching you the best way for your own good in that situation at that time period. But when you learn better, when you start to see things differently, when you start to, in your mind, go down the checklist of what makes sense and what doesn't, when you start to compute what's in your mind versus what's on your heart versus what's true, and you come out with this common denominator. Did it make you better? Did it raise you up from where you were at? Did it cause you to really think and contemplate yourself, your frame? Or was it a waste of your time, in your opinion? 9 out of 10, it wasn't a waste of your time. It was your ego, your arrogance of thinking that you knew everything because perhaps you believed that you knew more than that teacher. That's what happened during that first setting of the Spring Grand Council. They thought they knew more than the person who trained them. Remember, these men, these women had to be trained by the prophet in the positions that they were appointed to. And then you get that position. Who do you think the knowledge of that position came from? The same one that appointed you to that position, the one that put you up for that position. Just like those who come and join the Moorish Science Temple of America. Yeah, you can be a member for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, what have you. But when you step forward and someone vouches for you to become a citizen, and you go through that process, and then 1, 2, 10, 20 days, a month, 2 months, all of a sudden now you know more than the person who credentialed you to become a citizen. You know more than the person who breathed the breath of life on you when you went through that process. That's folly to the highest degree. You know, again, sometimes individuals are raised too fast. They're given too much knowledge too soon, and they don't know how to digest it so it will be beneficial to their system. Therefore, it has to come back. It's like a baby. You feed a baby too much too quick, what happens? One or two things. They puke or the other way. So some of you are puking up stuff you don't know, you couldn't handle, you thought you knew it, but what's coming out of your mouth has nothing to do with the prophet. And it shows because you're not here anymore. Therefore, as the prophets say, return to the state where I, your prophet, found you. So wherever you were before, that is where you basically will go back to. It's like water. Water rises. They say the tide comes in, then a certain time the tide goes back. The water, it rises, then it submerges. It goes back to its level. It seeks its level. And that's what you need to do, is seek your level. So this surah, it's a definitive example of the Prophet Muhammad is not and cannot be the last prophet of Allah. As he himself was questioned and asked directly, he was asked directly, are you the last prophet? And he said, I have no power. See, even he recognized that the power is from Allah, not from him. He's given power from Allah to carry out the will. He's the vessel that's used. But those individuals were, in their cunning way, they was trying to get ahead of another people's prophet so that they themselves could dictate. It's no different than here on this land today. And we see it all the time. We witness it all the time. There are individuals who are under other religious community leadership or guidership, and they believe that they are better than everyone else. They have fallen for this particular demonstration that their prophet is the only prophet and the only way. that their prophet is the last favor that Allah will give to man or mankind. We're going to stick with man. And they don't even understand the book that they're reading because they didn't have a teacher to instruct them, or the teachers were instructed not to teach them, based on the fact of their hierarchy within certain religious communities. Our prophet taught those in the first generation, the Moorish Americans here, pure and pristine Islam. I mean, they got it from Allah through the prophet directly to themselves. That had to have been some powerful lessons that they witnessed, that they were able to receive and be a benefit of that, a benefactor of that. And we say that because many of those in that first generation, they, as recent as the mid 90s, all the way up to the early 2000s, they just passing, changing forms. But look at the lessons that they were able to witness in their lifetime that they retained and passed on to those here who would listen. Those young members who had the respect to listen and learn from the elders. Our leadership, he'll tell you in every meeting, he learned from this particular person and that particular. He give you the names, he give you the dates, he give you the places. Because not a word is lost in that translation, in that transaction. See, that transaction is from Allah to the prophet to that first generation. Those individuals that were privileged to be there, to meet the prophet, to hear the prophet, to get these lessons and retain them here and here, was able to teach those who really were interested. I seen something on the video, and it was a good video. It was a good, I'm gonna put it this way, it was a good concept. And that concept is many Asiatics, even especially the ones who are looking for a temple, the ones who want to get something for nothing. They will say, well, I don't know, or why won't you teach us this? Why won't you teach us that? It says, why would a person who has worked their entire life, studied their entire life in the ways of being Moorish, in the ways of being Islamic, in the ways of being a leader, in the ways of setting aside temples, ministries, why would he do that to someone who truly don't ask questions, who truly are not making themselves available to get this knowledge? The teachers are not chasing the students. If the student wants what the teacher has, he will come to that teacher. And he will come there from the point of learning and not from the point, I know this. You don't know what you're talking about. Right there is a detractor. Why should this person waste their time, energy, and that knowledge on such an individual? If you're seeking, you will find. And when you hear it, you know that is it. But Those who have it are not going to go asking you, do you want it? Do you want it? No, you got to come to them and say, I need this. I want to learn this. I'm looking to learn. That's the first position that you got to put yourself in. I'm looking to learn. I'm seeking to learn. Now, once you do that, you got to be truthful with yourself because the prophet put it this way. He says, as fast as you can retain this knowledge, he has it to give. So he's saying that you come in today, and if I can pour this information to you, and I can impart some knowledge to you, and you can internalize it in a point where you got it, but you can demonstrate it back to me so I can see that you got it. I got more to give. That's why they say in our Quran says that the treasures, when the wise man opened his mouth, is as if he's opened up a box of treasures. Meaning that you sit there contently and listen in earnest to truly know what he's talking about, to listen and pay attention, he will teach you things that you would never have even contemplated. But you got to be quiet. You got to sit and listen. Take notes. And the beautiful part of today is you got these videos that we're doing. So you can go back, rewind it. You can cut out the piece that you want. You can write it down. You even got a program in your computer where it can transcribe it. So you can put it into your own book form and read it in your leisure. These are the things that the teachers, the leaders can do for those who are truly looking to better themselves, to learn of the more Science Temple way of life, Islamic way of life, our Islamic practice. All of these things are right there. But if you don't make the call, you don't stand up, and you don't step forward, that's on you. It's always been on you. Even the prophet said, the Quran, or the Moorish Science Temple of America, this is your Quran that now you have to learn it. You have to study it. That's why you say, steady yourself. You say, you well have steadied yourself, steady yourself again, because you're always improving. You're always perfecting. That's what they say, perfected. You're in the state of perfecting yourself, your way of thinking, your way of acting. Everything that you're doing comes with the end result. What is your end result for joining the Moorish Science Temple of America? Is it to learn Islam from the Moorish perspective? Is it to perhaps just get the nationality and run around and be just as ignorant as you was before you step forward in to fool yourself? Because you don't fool us. Your actions show us exactly what's on your heart, what's in your mind. How Capital One say, what's in your wallet? We see it, we hear it, and don't ever think that we don't forget it. Because once we see it, we can't forget it. We can't forget the fact that certain groups are diametrically opposed to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and his teachings. We cannot forget that someone said that our Prophet Noble Drew Ali was not perfect. And we definitely cannot forget that someone says, if religion could save you, it would have saved you long ago. But we have a new one now. A new one says, oh, I don't have to do what the prophet said. These are quotes, and they are dreadfully, dreadfully shameful, coming out of the mouth of one that have professed to be a Moorish American. You know, that's the shameful part, that each of those statements was from a different individual. So if you just got, I just named 4 statements. How many other statements are out there from individuals who put on the attire of being Moorish, but in their heart, and they're deep in their soul, they know this ain't for them. But they have benefited so much by looking the part, they can't take it off and put it down. That is the hypocrisy that we face when we run into these individuals. That is the hypocrisy, that we have to listen to their absurdity sometimes. And sometimes the things that come out of their mouth are so far fetched, we have to stop the tape, take a break. Did that person really just say that? Did that person really put that out there? A falsehood about the prophet. You know, again, our leadership has been around the movement, meaning that he's been around other groups of Moors, or those who call themselves Moors. He's been an active member since he was in his 20s. And as he will tell you, I'm in my 70s. That's 50 years I've been concerned in the Moorish Science Temple of America, an active member. I've become a citizen. He's become an officer, become an official. He's an executive ruler. And now he is the head, Supreme Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So he's seen a lot, he's heard a lot, and for these individual characters to make these, they are declarations without any support. They're just spewing it out of their mouth. It's like they just can't stop. They get on a roll, they can't stop. But they cannot support these things that they say. So people want to be a member, but they do not want the responsibility that membership brings with it. You know, our work is getting very busy. It has been for a while. And the individuals who are joining, we want them to be able to step in after due time of preparation, qualification, and credentials from the prophet, that they can be utilized. That's what the prophet said, you know, the education, get a good education, then I can use you. In other words, whatever your specialty, your skill, what can you do within your local temple to assist? Maybe your state temple, maybe the national, whatever it is that you bring, you know, don't hold it and conceal it, because many of these talents that we witnessed individuals, we didn't know until they were gone. See, that's deceptiveness. You know, you're not full-hearted about this. You're not fully invested. You know, you got to be fully invested, because this is your eternal soul. This is your eternal soul that you're speaking about. This is relinking you back with Allah, getting you back in tune with the divine. So you would try to shortchange Allah? Wow. Your creator, you would try to shortchange Allah. So you would be an iblis. You're not going to do what Allah says that you should be doing. You're going to refuse Allah. So we're going to do one additional surah to go with this. just so each person will understand that there's a line within the Quran that we look at. And within this, it speaks of, first of all, Surah 1047 is saying that each nation will receive the prophet. Now, this is one that Prophet Muhammad, he declared that he had no control over what nation gets a prophet. But here's another surah for those who are listening in. We're going to go to Surah 13. Let's see. Surah 13. That's 3 surahs ahead. Surah 13. Now this one, listen at what is being said by the Prophet Muhammad and those concerned. And he says, we have sent messengers before and appointed for them wives and children, yet none of them could bring a sign, a miracle, except by the leave of Allah. For every age is a book. So this is saying that for each of the prophets that come, the revelation that they received from Allah, they were able to, in time, put it in a book, or it was put into a book. Now this is in the Quran of Mecca. Quran of Mecca was supposedly put together some 14 or 1500 years ago. So 1500 years ago, that's a long time. Now our prophet put together our Quran 100 years ago. So you take the 100 years that we've had our Quran within our hand. It says, for every age is a book. We have our book for this age. This is the age of Ali. Like I said, they go hand in hand because one is saying that I can't interfere with this nation getting a prophet. The other one is saying for every age is a book. For the age of Jesus, there's what? The Bible. That's the book they put together for the Jesus. Oh, okay. Wow. For the age of Muhammad, they put together a book. They called it the Quran of Mecca or the Quran of Muhammad. And here come Prophet Ali. He has a book. He put it together. We call it affectionately the Circle 7. But it's the Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. A book for this age. All right, let's try another surah. See where you all are. We keep this in mind. The prophet couldn't stop another prophet coming, and when that prophet comes, he's bringing his own book. Well, let's see what this book is. Let's go to 14. 14 comes after 13. In some mathematical circles, it says, Surah 14:4, and we never sent a messenger. Check that out. We never sent a messenger except with the language of his people, in order that he might make the message clear to them, for them. But Allah leads in error whom he will, and guides whom he pleases. He is mighty, the wise. So now this messenger has to speak the language that those people can understand. I.e., why do I have to learn Arabic to understand Islam? Why do I have to learn Chinese to understand Islam? Why do I have to learn Spanish to understand Islam? The prophet just said you don't. Because when we sent this prophet to you, he spoke the language that you speak and understand. So that our message to you is clear. So that is the benefit, that is the blessing, because you got your own prophet.
Why?
You have your own prophet, and your prophet is speaking your language, and your prophet can't interfere with the next prophet. He's concerned with his time, and he has his own book. Now, this is what Prophet Muhammad said 1,400 years before Prophet Ali. So, again, if you don't believe in the prophet, then this really doesn't make any sense to you. But for those who are, and those who do believe, keep on until you have the faith that you need and you become what you say you believe in. So, again, we're grateful for the time that we had. And as Surah 10:47, he says, I have no power to hurt or to benefit, and that is the blessing. He could have said, I am it. I am the all in all. I'm the last one.
Let's all go with Surah 47, 10:47 to 50.
Yeah.
Let them know that. So,
yeah, that's
because they'll try to use something.
That's why I got up here. Yes, sir. So, even y'all favorite Europeans said the buck stops here. So that's what Muhammad said. No, I'm not the one where the buck stops. I have no control. So with that, we hope you got something out of that. Again, we covered Surah 14:4, Surah 10:47 through 49, Surah 13:38. And again, you got the power in your hand now to rewind this later. So without further ado, we're going to get a meeting over to our Mahdi, our Supreme Grand Sheikh, our Sheikh, Dr. Rasadi Hill. We leave you as we came, that's in peace, love, praises unto Allah Almighty. Bismillah, Bismillah, Bismillah. Islam.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Arise in all perfect praises to Allah. Honor to his holy prophet, Jew Ali, who manifests the strength of Allah to us to show us who we are. Islam, Islam, Islam. Bismillah. I just seen some. I had posted on the Moorish temples of California, Oakland, and I got to read y'all what they say. Islam, nobody's scared of you or nobody with you. Trust me. You don't want us on your show. Your show is not important or present, nor is your show relevant. Hence, why are you over here commenting on our works and you don't determine anything for us, nor do we care about your opinion? As you are jealous of our national grand sheik, Cosmo Will, your insecurities are showing on the post honoring him where you come hating. I see you have aged, but you never mature. Elders like you are why we haven't made progress. We are capable. You're not helpful or useful. So what's the purpose do you serve? If you don't agree with us, that's fine, but don't come and try to attach yourself to progress that we make because you ain't progressing. Peace. Enjoy your golden years. Now you know what I like about that? I asked 5 questions. The reason I asked him these 5 questions is because if you look at the tape, the brothers say every temple has a right to do its own thing, basically. Every temple has a right to make its own earth. Now, this is the catch. What temple did you come from? That's what I asked him. What temple do y'all come from? If Cosmo is your national grand sheik, he has to be in the temple somewhere. And I know for a fact there was no such thing as the Moorish Zion Temple of California. How do you know that, Brother? Because I was governing the state of California. And these are the things I was fighting. I was fighting all these Negroes want to do this. I call California Walt's World. What I mean by Walt's World, Walt Disney, you draw anything you want to draw from that. So I asked intelligent questions. He said he didn't come on my show because they didn't want me on. I don't want them on the show because they down. What have they done? Let me see. They ain't done a damn thing. Oh, they got a little land. Ooh. Jones Bay them got 250 acres. They got a whole community they don't even work with. Let me see. Cosmo Hill say take a metal copper thing, wrap it around a glass thing, and you can be healed. Now, where's that in the prophet's teaching? Where is crystallization a healing power in the Moorish Zion Temple of America? Where it says that no, the brother even couldn't go, we know every temple has a right. Let me see. Every temple has a right to form his own laws, customs, etc. Oh, here goes another part. He just said, know that you strike no fear in anyone's heart. If you're trying to get 15 seconds of fame off the works of Cosmo Hill, you are wasting your time. Let your actions deeds speak for yourself. If you're not trying to unify, build this, stay off the Negro, you on my page. You in my world, Negro. Y'all weren't even around when I was around. So I asked this simple question. I said, well, brother, do this. I'm shy I said it. I said, well, brother, call and we can discuss the issue that we can talk about tonight. I ain't like talking. I'm letting you come on in a private line and we can discuss the issues what we can and cannot say that be benefit to both of us. But, you know, I'm going to ask you the simple question. What temple do you come from? That's a hell of a question. If you came from a temple, how you got another temple that you lead of and different from that grand body? It sounds like to me, you split off from somebody. It sounds like to me, the person whose temple you came from didn't recognize you as being who you say you are today. That's what it becomes. Wait a minute. What is my job? My job, I'm saying on the heads of the highway in defense of the gospel. So when you come past me talking about you, Mo, I'm going to ask you how. Trace yourself back to the prophet. Trace your adept teachings back to the prophet. Because I know damn well the prophet ain't never tell you, take a copper wire and wrap it around a crystal and it'll save you. It'll bless you. It'll heal you. The energy. Now the brother could have came and talked man to man. He said he's the national. What the hell is the national grand sheep? Where did the prophet find the title national? Where they come from? Let's just stop there. You the national grand sheep. I know where the title comes from because I got the book. Let me see. Move, mama. Move. Let me see what it says. The Green Book. The Green Book. Let me look and see where is that. Oh, I think this is it here. Y'all gonna bring me some make-believe stuff. This is the green book. Why that card up there? See this? This is the green book. This convention is 1975. Let me see, do I have this marked off there? Because it was at 957 East 75th Street that the title National Grand Sheik was born. Let me see. Is this the one? I got another one around here. And this is that they had a convention, and their convention, they determined they're going to have a national head. At that time, it was the Supreme Grand Sheik title and the Supreme Grand Moderator and Advisor title. So, let me see. You see, I got stuff marked off in it. I see them tabs and stuff. So he got a temple. Where he come from? It's not in this one. But it's in a book like this. I got it around here. Probably got it upstairs. And he explained that while they was reforming the grand body of 957 East 75th Street, that they came up with the title National Grand Sheik. Because everybody else was calling themselves the Supreme Grand Sheik, the National Supreme this, etc. I even got German Bays at their book. I thought it was in this one. But come on, we can talk. Now, what is your success story? Let me see. What have y'all done? Oh, y'all been like the church. Y'all give away food. Oh, y'all walk around with little rocks on your necks. Did you say cure you? Oh, y'all got a little land in Hawaii. Let me tell y'all something. I was talking with this sister and his brothers. And these sisters and brothers from y'all grand body. When I mentioned Cosmo Hill's name, they went off. I said, I didn't want to hear all that, brother. Well, you know, I don't want to hear all that about his dirt and stuff. I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact he's not Moorish. Now, he put in front of his temple, United Moorish Scientific America. What y'all united with? Let me see. Oh, I done seen y'all go around the country and sit with people like Hopkins Bay now. I ain't seen y'all sit with his leader, Jones Bay. But y'all do sit with some members that think like y'all. Ain't nothing fantastic about that. Ain't nothing fantastic about passing out bread and butter. The Christians been doing it for how long? But you passing out a damn lie. Because there's no such thing, according to the prophet, as the National Grand Sheik. I'm going to prove my point. You know, they used to call themselves Supreme Grand Moderator and Advisor. All Loveville. Me and Loveville used to argue about that. So Loveville went to court. And the judge said, let me see your bylaws and stuff that your prophet, listen, he didn't ask for yours. He said what the prophet gave out. So they finally dug up a part, gave it to the judge. Judge went back, came back after they talked. The judge said, there's no such thing as Supreme Grand Moderator and Advisor of the Moorish Scientific America, according to Prophet Noble Jew Ali. So according to your prophet, and well, guess what? Love Hill stopped referring to himself as the Supreme Grand Moderator Advisor. Now I was telling him for years, you ain't that. But it took a European to tell him. See, that's what's wrong with y'all. It take a white man. I'm going to call him like y'all call him, a white man to tell y'all you wrong. You ain't going to believe no brother, but you believe a white man. He had to go to court for the judge to tell him, now Jones Bay is called what? National Grand Sheik and Moderator. Okay. Which he can't be because moderator title of the prophet. Go look on the minister papers, the missionary papers. It says Noble Drew Ali moderator. How can you be the? You can't take the prophet place. You still got to live by the prophet law, but these Negroes don't think so. In California, you make your own rules and regulations. You do your own thing. That's why we like we are. Okay. But if you the Unity Temple, Unity Moore Scientific America, tell me this here. What temple y'all come from? Anyway, anybody got any questions?
No questions. The Mo just clarified that the land in Hawaii is under the Moorish Science Temple of Hawaii, a creature of the state named of Cosmo Hill, which means it's not owned by the temple, but Cosmo Hill.
Did y'all see that?
So he made up something.
The prophet said nothing should be in a member's name that belongs to the Moorish, either his name or the Moorish Scientific America. That's why they don't want to come on and talk to me tonight. That's why they shaking in their panties. Don't get me wrong. I respect, as I always tell Mose and people, may Allah be pleased with your good. Yes, the brother has done some good, but he's using his good to mislead the majority of y'all astray. The devil must tell you some truth in order to get you to follow him. Well, Mo, ain't about, wait a minute, let me tell y'all something. It's more y'all follow me secretly than y'all is publicly following your own people. You know, that what gets me. I'm sitting there and I say, okay, all right. Y'all following these brothers because you could do your own thing. I remember something that Belial told me. May Allah be pleased with his good. We were sitting in his kitchen one day and we was talking. And he was telling me how he got elected to his position, how he got voted in. He said D. O'Neill, the former Supreme Grand Chairman of that group, wasn't no Supreme Grand Sheik at the time. And he said, the brother told him, he said, brother Belial, if you want to stay in office, just let them do what they want to do. He said, as long as you do that, you stay in office. And Belial stayed in office till people came and wanted to do something different. I love being a Mo. I didn't want to take Jones Bay to court. I tried to talk to Jones Bay. I tried to talk intelligent to Mo. We need to sit down and talk. You can't be lying on me telling the government and the state that I teach sovereignty. I got the letters. And I put the letters in my case. Jones Bay paid $11,687.80 not to face me in court, but he took everybody else to court. I went in the courtroom, Supreme Grand Sheik, the fifth Supreme Grand Sheik, Ross Hill of the Moorish Scientific of America, 1928. He went in there, National Grand Sheik, moderator of the Moorish Scientific Incorporated. I come out the courtroom, Supreme Grand Sheik, Ross Hill of the Moorish Scientific of America, 1928. He come out of there, and now he's the Moorish Scientific of America, 1913. What made him change? He changed. Braswell Bay tried to sneak and take me to court with some more people. They didn't file no paperwork. I did. I got the case thrown out. I could have sued him for finance. I could have sued Jones Bay for finance, but I didn't. I just wanted to prove a point. Question is, why y'all like following fake people? Your boy, Trump Tahaka Jr., he tell you about everybody. Yes, and everybody else, Kirkman Bay. Use the new Kirkman Bay. Ain't nobody made you nothing. When I first met you, dumb butt, you was over there with a so-called Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Prophet Noble Jew Ali. You was with a fake prophet. Then you leave him to go join Belly Hill, a practicing homosexual. Then you leave Belly Hill in 2017. He didn't make you nothing. Let me tell y'all something, how dumb Moors are. You read without understanding. The prophet said that when you leave the temple, you to turn in your paperwork. Cease wearing your turban and fez, and return to say that the prophet found you in. So, now Belly Hill was kicked out of the temple in 2004 by Braswell Bay. So you had no power and authority. You had no power and authority to bust a grape, to bust a weak side of a grape. He had no power and authority to bust a weak side. The weak side of the grape is the spore side. That's the easiest thing to bust. Then he gave you charters. This is the cold part. There was copies of my charter. Because Braswell Bay took all this charters, all this paperwork. Basically, he took most of the paper, I can say that. Right now, I don't know if y'all know it, but when I was up there, in this garage was tons and tons of stuff, which I know none of y'all got. I know Keith Dandridge ain't got nothing. He'll mow by what? By proxy. See, this is the issue. Y'all have made it so easy for anybody to jump up and say they supremes, they sultans, they gods. Because ain't nobody hollering hearing to the prophet. The prophet said it this way: the nations of the earth don't want the truth because it's too stern and too restrictive. Now look where you at and ask yourself why. All I did was ask Cosmo Hill and them, what temple you come from? Because if he the head of the Moorish Scientific of America, it got to be the temple he come from. Now, unless he got put out that temple he come from, then he can't be nothing. Now, the temple he comes from is a fake temple. He still can't be nothing. I remember when I was in New York, these brothers had nationality cards they showed. They didn't have a prophet name on it. They had took the prophet name off the nationality. I said, these ain't real. Well, that's what you say. No, that's what the law say. We all have our own issues, Mo. We all going to have our individual challenges. We'll have our individual this and that. But when you say you're Moorish American, you give up degrees of your sovereignty. When you join the Moorish Scientific of America, according to Act 6 with us, you got to give a part of your sovereignty. Now you with us. And you must do stuff that we doing. You got to act like we acting. That's what y'all doing now. I watch my ex-member, Sharif, sit up there at the table with Todd. Yeah, Todd, you was just like crack to us. He still like crack to you. Nigga, listen, I thought you was a woman. You know how people get around movie stars and stuff? Yes, I was so carried away. I just looked at him. Now, if I was sitting there like Fuquay Bay was sitting there, I'd say, man, what the hell you acting like this for? You acting like a bee. If you know this man is wrong, why are you still up here smiling and grinning and high-fiving him? And he lied to you. This man lied to you. And you have like crack. I couldn't help myself. I can't help myself now. I ain't got off of it yet. Out of your Sunday school come the guidance of the nation. If nobody's telling you the truth, how you gonna have guidance of the nation? And what nation they gonna guide? What is the principles that they're living by? I was just on the internet looking. I found brand new More Scientific Americas with brand new symbols. One of the brothers used to be in the Grand Body with me, with Braswell Bay and him. He down here now got his own group. I had some woman come in for to represent some foreign king or whatever, and she thought we gonna pay for him to have a spot. He just stole billions of dollars, but we got to pay for his spot because he's such and such. That woman left here disappointed. Another brother down here, he called himself the Sultan. And they got these sister brothers hanging around him. I'm like, he wanted me to hook up with him. I said, I can't call you Sultan and you ain't no more. How you going to say, look at these people? I say, because I know the prophet. A few years back, brothers and sisters, we was in Washington, D.C. And we was talking at the masjid. We was at an international masjid with an international leadership. And the guy offered me a building and the finance and stuff to come with it if I joined them. That's how powerful he seen the strength of us in. But you know what I told him? No, sir. I enjoyed the lunch and dinner you gave us. I enjoyed praying in your temple, but I'm not giving my prophet up for nothing. That reminds me back in the 70s, late 70s, when the imams and stuff had people over here looking for people to send to what was it, Egypt, to some little school they got in Egypt and Mecca, and they told me they trained me in Islam. I come back here as the imam and I'll be making $75,000 a year. That was in 1979, and I turned that down. And yet still they said that's how I got the Noble Quran of Mecca. So they started sending me stuff trying to get me. I said, no, sir. I'd rather be broke. What that sister said to sing that song, I'd rather be blind. She said, I'd rather be blind. I'd rather be broke and just let y'all walk around me because I know I got my salvation. I know y'all sell out for a cookie. Not a whole cookie, half a cookie. Maybe most of y'all sell out for cookie crumbs and a cup of spoiled milk. This brother said, oh, there's another brother named Huckabee. Let me get his name correctly. Let me get this brother's name correctly here. Now this brother, Horn Buckle Bay. Now, I let him be my friend. We was talking. Then he started saying a bunch of stupid stuff. So last week, 4 days ago, he talking. He said, yes, you know, Adam and Eve, such and such. Y'all tell me what y'all know about Adam and Eve. I'm like, you tell us what you know about Adam and Eve. I said, tell me how Adam and Eve went from being Asiatic to European. Because he said Adam and Eve, the descendants of Adam and Eve are Asiatics, Muslims and Asiatics. So I asked him to explain that to me. Let me see what you know if you know what you're talking about. You know what? He blocked me. He took me off the air on this side.
Mm.
He the guy that got that picture where they folding up the Moorish flag, the little cartoon. I said, now, I done just chased the most chief minister. You know they can't hang. All I did was ask about what he was talking about. How you going to talk about Adam and Eve? And you don't know a damn thing about Adam and Eve other than what you've been told. Says Adam and Eve, the mother, father, human family, Asiatic and Muslim. Won't say nothing about Caucasian. So when I asked him about today, he couldn't even answer. He took me off. I see why he folded the flag up as a cartoon character, because he don't know nothing about it. I mean, he took me all off to a website. I mean, he didn't even try to answer. He could have said, well, Chief, you know, that's an ad-lib question, you know. I don't want to go in ad-lib list. I could have said, okay, then call me. We'll talk over the phone. But he blocked me. He took all the stuff off. See, because we don't lie like that. I'm not saying we don't lie. I might lie to save you. I might lie to save somebody in your family. But I ain't going to lie to send you to hell. That's why the prophet said he couldn't tell us everything because we'd go wild. I can't tell you everything. If you listen, you get the clues, you get the keys. It's like, I told a brother, go look this up, any, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a nigga by his toe. If he hollers nationality, let him go. I'm doing a whole thing on this. I'm having a little pamphlet on that. And see, and in my book, I got my teacher's pictures in it. See? I got both of my major teachers in it. I should have 3. I got to do another one that's in color with Shanae Hill. I'm on my 3 major teachers in there. Who's your teachers? Who taught you about the prophet? Who taught you his ad-lib lessons? I'm not talking about that Kirkman Bay book. Matter of fact, a European so-called Muslim republished it. See, I got that book in here. In the green book. And I'm gonna tell y'all about a little brief thing about me in this book. See that? Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Can you see it? Mm-hmm. Can y'all see the bouncing book? Now, when I went through the ad-lib chamber in 1979, I remember very well, brother Mastino Cookbait brought me the book. He said, now you can get this here. Now you have an ad-lib lesson. I said, can I see it before I pay for it? He said, yeah. I looked at it, I gave it back. I said, man, I don't want this. He said, what's the man? I got this already. Oh, they say you was a spy. I said, how am I a spy? So anyway, I went down to the Loveville and they was talking and he said, well, where you get the book from? I said, I got it out the Quain Gospel. I paid $2.50 for the book. You charged me $10 for it. Why would I pay you $10 for I can get the whole book, the whole story? And then Mathena, he said, what? I said, all you got to do go to Noble's bookstore, Barnes and Noble, get you a Quain Gospel and get what Jesus go through the 7 chambers. All this man did was when he got you something that the prophet didn't give you. There's a reason the prophet didn't give you that. Because the prophet had his own goddamn lessons. And the next day, brother, me and brother Paige Gill out of Richmond, Virginia, brother Paige Gill, we went to the store. He said, I want you to show me this book. And I brought 3 of them. $2.50. Why would I pay you $10 for a book that I can get the whole book, everything in it, for $2.50? He brought a couple for himself. He said, I didn't know this. But you an adept. You was adept before I was an adept. We got pictures of you when you're 9 years old at the 10th convention. I wasn't even born. But Loveville told Mathena Cookbay ain't no secrets anymore. That was never a secret. And you go to it was a secret to y'all because y'all couldn't read. It was a secret to the moles because they didn't go read nothing. They wasn't studying. So, but I was. And guess what? I didn't pay for the book either. I didn't buy that. I could put a red cover on and some fingerprints. I put a naked woman on it. Y'all buy it then. The European, he's selling it. Tari, I think it's Ahari Mohammedio. He's a European. He got his nationality card at 3810 South Wabash because he told him he was Irish and Indian. Yeah, they brought that food to me. I was downtown arguing with the Muslims as general. But they always went, here come Brother Ryan, let's get him, you know. And so this day they really thought they got me because they had this European, blonde hair, European. And they say, tell them who you are. I'm Altar Mohammedio. I say, and? And he pulled out his nationality card. I say, and? I say, you white, you're a European. You can't be no more. Well, I got my card. Where you get your card from? He told me 3810 South Wabash. I said, them people don't know nothing about the prophet. They following a false prophet. I've been down there to the temple. And because he said his grandmama was Indian, they gave him a card. Not that he was Irish. And to show you just how deep this is, me and him used to communicate because he was a good student of Islam. I mean, I liked him because that European had studied, said he wrote the book and said they seek paradise. Cabin in the Sky. I think that's the book he wrote. And Moors were buying it up. And he was going to East and West University right off Foster Avenue. I live on the north side. And I stopped at his house, we talked. But he did show me one book. I can't remember the name of it. But this book, he had it in there. It had in there this, it's either 1780 or 1870. And it said that the Negroes were running around with a charter from the king, from the Sultan of Morocco, and that they was proclaiming themselves Moors. So this was either 1780 or 1870. Now, I would have asked him again, but me and him fell out. We fell out because he married a boss, let me get them people right. A Bosnian woman. And the Bosnian can't stand our people. So he couldn't be one of us. And to show you that he ain't one of us, he's over there with the Nasabani, and you have colored turbans and stuff. And his turban was and his color was European. So when he went over there, then he told me he was a European. Ain't that something? He married one of the people, Bosnian woman. And he told me, come over to my house, I'm going to show you some stuff. I said, okay. So I was coming over to his house, I see all the shoes, you know, you got to leave your shoes at the door. All the shoes there, and I'm like, ain't nobody in the house. I said, brother, can I ask you a question? He said, what's that? I said, how come every time I come up here, your family is never here in the house? Well, they down the hallway. Why they down the hallway? They don't like black people, Moors. I said, you say you married her? Now, in 1996, we was at an international conference I was invited to, Nasabani, and they come out and pull them to the side. I said, what's going on? They don't like me with you. Bosnians don't like us. And then one day I was in the temple. Afterwards, he sent me a letter calling me a nigger and everything. I showed it to the moles. I said, see that? I'm sure how deep it was. I didn't even open the letter. I got the letter. I just felt something nasty from the letter. I let another Mo read it. Let's open it up, Mo, read the letter. He read the letter. He said, man, he said, this is the same European? I said, yep. You know what he wrote me back and said? He called me and said, I didn't take my medicine. If I took my medicine, I don't talk like that when I take my medicine. He's not Nasabani no more. He's starts with a B-E-S-K, I think it is. He with those, they Bosnians. But I learned a lot from him because he had a lot of books. That European. So when Europeans study, they study. I mean, they go all into detail, backwards and forward. That's what I liked about him. Talk to him more. He tell you about some stuff he read that somebody else told him that they read, and somebody else told him that they read, and ain't nobody seen it. If you notice in our leadership and our teachingship, we show our brothers and sisters what to read, what not to read, and we tell them why. Why you should read this, why you shouldn't read this. We teach you over here about subliminal suggestion. We teach you over here about infinite experiences. We teach you over here how to recognize your devil when he pops up. How to defend against your devil when he pops up. Not how to embrace your devil. See, this is why when I see brothers trying to teach on the prophet's teaching and they all off course, I know it's their devil. Because now they got to defend it. See, Cosmo Hill people got to defend it. Let me see. I'm going to put it up here. They got to defend that bull they're talking. That's the cold part. And they can't defend it. The prophets say represent me intelligently. Why can't they defend it? That's what it becomes. How come you can't defend this? You know? Y'all the type of moves ain't nobody afraid of. Ain't nobody afraid of you type of moves. Yeah, let me see. I'm looking at the Moore Sign Temple of America of California. I think this is. Yeah, Moore Sign Temple of California, Oakland. Mm-hmm. When did the prophet say that? And I just be like, wow. I just be like, wow. How you come up and lie like that? You trying to teach people a lie. You ain't even looked into what you was teaching. You ain't even studied what you teaching. You ain't compared what you teaching to the truth. See, that what gets me. Brothers trying to tell me, well, you know, what about the Nation of Islam? I'm not mad at them. They doing their thing. You can't be mad at somebody for doing their thing. They look successful because y'all dummies. Think about that. Why do the Nation of Islam look like they're successful? Because we're a bunch of dummies. I have to include myself into that. Because I'm trying to work with y'all. I spend more time trying to teach Moors the truth, nothing but the truth. But for some reasons, Moors rather pay for stuff $500,000-$600,000 for some stuff that don't work. That would really give you pay for some stuff that don't work. Y'all think because you make a magazine, a newspaper. Only reason I stopped publishing my newspaper because hell, y'all weren't trying to buy it, but y'all buy these old funky books. Y'all love people that ain't doing this, they ain't doing what they're doing. But guess what? We got a surprise coming for you. We got a surprise for you. You're going to wake up and want to register yourself in our temple. Watch what I'm saying. Watch what I'm saying. It's not your temple going to be having the 15 secretaries. And I love my Moorish brothers and sisters. But guess what? I can't drag you through the gates of heaven. And I ain't going to let y'all take me through hell. It's like I was in that brother's house in his temple, sitting at his table. I'm talking about that fake prophet up there in Baltimore. And he was telling me that he is the Moorish Zion Temple of America's founder, that he is the prophet, Noble Joe Ali. And he said, well, the European recognize me, why don't you? I said, anybody gonna get their name changed, but you ain't my prophet. Then he looked at everybody in the room. He said, he looked at Trump to Haka Jr. and them. Who am I to you? Prophet Noble Joe Ali, Prophet Noble Joe Ali. Then he looked on this side of the room. He said, who am I to you? Prophet Noble Joe Ali. Then he looked at me and said, who am I to you? I said, you ain't my prophet. We ain't got to have a long conversation. You ain't my prophet. You ain't Rael's prophet at all. I know some of y'all be looking and thinking, but I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't want y'all to tell nobody else. When you remember Noah, think on me. This is what I said. When you remember Noah, when you talk about Noah, think on me. The Christians say he talked for 126 years, and nobody but his family went to heaven with him. But when it stormed and stormed and stormed and shook the earth up, guess what? All them Negroes wanted to join. All the Negroes wanted to join. And the prophet said it this way, that when they tried to join the temple, join the ship, the angel took the keys away. I want y'all to remember that. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. I'm looking for this video. That when the flood comes this time, who gonna save you? Y'all can have all them t-shirts on that says more signs. Y'all can hold up all y'all success giving out bread and turkeys and stuff. Oh, here it is. Wait a minute, Mom. I found it. Wait, here you go. Here you go. Now look at this. Tell me if you can see it now. I'm gonna try to get it where you can hear it. Okay, where is it at? I just had it. Here you go.
9, teach him gratitude, and he shall receive benefits. Teach him charity, and he shall gain love. So the opposite of miserliness is charity. We have a chapter on charity, and then the prophet, like I said,
What the hell he got on his head?
tells you what charity brings. It brings love. So if we're supposed to learn to love instead of hate, what should you start with? Charity. Because it says, teach him charity, and he shall gain love. This is how you acquire love. Now, what is charity? Is charity just giving away things? Charity, prophet.
That ain't the one. I want to find the other one.
Things like you said, you become fond. Things like you said, because what we're here to do is charity. Now let's go to the end. As it is. Now, as the boys learn, the prophet said, how do we get time, boys?
1 second. Yes, that's right.
Generate.
That ain't it.
Learn to love is charity.
I'll be like amazed. How you going to teach what you don't know? Now I say that this way because tonight we're gonna show you how the prophet said temples ought to be set up.
So this is what Noble Drawley said, speaking on the reason we're getting into.
Wait a minute. Listen.
This is what Noble Drawley said, speaking on the principles of each different temple, and also remember in Act 1 that each temple has its rights. It's right to have its own customs. It's allowed. And not only that, people be like, well, you come from this body, I come from this body. And they have this argument, but this isn't how moral science is set up. Not only that, our teachers teach against that. It says,
can you see?
Nobody, unless their power extends beyond the great universal God Allah,
wait a minute,
can change man's descendant nature. Yo, temple where you come from is your descent nature line. You can't change what temple you came from. You can't change what lineage you learned more science from. So why are we not able to have unity about these things when we have the lessons in our more science, in our
wait a minute,
our teachings, right? In our Islamism that teaches us that no one can change man from his descent nature line, but yet we see people, well, you come from that lineage, you come from this lineage, you do this, we do that. And it doesn't allow for anyone, you know what I'm saying, to grow or to have true unity because we're arguing about things we can't.
Now listen to this fool. Can you see?
I can't change that, you know, my grand sheik came from here and his grand sheik came from there and their grand sheik learned it from this. I can't change that things split up 100 years ago before I was even born. And then this is how I came into more science. But yet it's people who try to invalidate temples, invalidate work, invalidate the ability for us to unify based on these things that we cannot change. Even our teachings, like I said, say that your power would have to extend beyond the creator, the universal God Allah, to change those things. So it's not something we should be bickering about. It's not something we should be holding the generation that came after accountable for, or the generation that came before us, because law governs all events. These things were supposed to happen. And this is why in the chapter,
now, we're going to talk about this tonight.
Ali said, you know, he's the
because he said, know what your Ali say. Now check it. Let's say.
To be united, it had to be broken or separated. Let's not say broken.
What I love about them, it shows their teachership. They got none.
At least set their eyes wide open. You know what I'm saying? So, he's the founder of, or the generation of the more science separation, because it was separation. For something to be.
See, this is the problem. How you gonna teach what you don't know? Now everybody listening to this stuff he's saying, oh yeah, man, but that ain't what the prophet taught. Well, it had to be divided because the prophet said, in chapter 47, verse 12, that the Moorish Scientific of America, this is United of the Moorish Scientific of America. Negro, shut the hell up. You can't even show, I'm just how dumb this is. He can't show you during the time of the prophet more than one temple, more than one Moorish Scientific of America. Ask him to show you where's the other Moorish Scientific of America since you said it was divided. And who was the head of this other division? From 1925, when the prophet issued the first charter till he died July the 20th, 1929, wasn't but one more Scientific of America. You can't go nowhere in America and find another more Scientific of America at that time period. So how he said the more Scientific had to be divided because the prophet said this is the uniting of the more Scientific of America. We can't get in unity because y'all want to argue. No, sir. Let me tell you. I know a bee can't tell a fly about shit. Because a bee ain't in the honey. But you catch more flies with shit than you will honey. Think about that. All I did was ask, say, come on, let's see if your teaching stands up to what the prophet actually taught. Listen, these are my teachers. See my teachers? Can you see that, Mom? These are my teachers. They walked and talked with the prophet. The prophet sent George Cookbay to Baltimore. He established the original temple number 13. He sent I Cookbay to Baltimore. He established the original temple number 19. I studied with them from 1978 until they died in the 90s. George Cookbay died in 93, but in 92 he told me some things and gave me power and authority. Who your teachers that walked and talked with the prophet? George Cookbay told me in front of everybody, come with me because you're going to have to do what I did for the prophet. I'm going to teach you what the prophet taught me. So who have a better understanding what the prophet said he meant than me? Between you and me. But tonight you're going to learn what is the uniting of the more scientific America. He didn't say the reuniting of the more scientific. Y'all didn't catch that word, huh? He ain't like Donald Trump. Donald Trump say what? Make America great again. He didn't say we're going to unite the more scientific America again. You read without understanding. And the people that's teaching you follow them because they have the same thing you do. Birds of a feather flock together. Eagles don't fly with birds. See, an eagle, show you the difference. An eagle take one of his chicks out and drop him. If he don't fly, he through. That eagle had taught that bird enough how to flap his wings and stuff, how to do stuff, that he should be able to fly. You Moors ain't flying. I know something that Brother George Johnson Bay said. He was the son of Brother Ira Johnson Bay. Ira Johnson Bay is known by most Moors as Allah Il. And he said this. The prophet taught you to walk. I'm finna teach you how to fly. I'm here again to get you off your hands and knees to teach you how to fly. Pass not bread and donut don't make you nothing. Having land don't make, because if that was so, Jones Bay would be the biggest group in America because they got 250 acres of land in one spot. I was there March 18, 2018. I saw how dilapidated and condemned the builders were. Like the prophet says, not having a good thing, but knowing how to use them. Y'all think because y'all in the city giving away some Cheerios and a bag of nuts that everybody gonna follow you. That's not charity. Charity begins at home, fool. But anyway, it's finna be 4:15. We're gonna close out. Anybody got any questions posted up there?
No. Let's see. Oh, there you go one.
What?
There are several Temple 13s in Baltimore. Who is the Grand Sheik of the original Temple 13 today?
I don't know. You asked me a hell of a question because I don't know. Because I know ain't none of them got the original charter. I know for a fact that the Dingle brothers and brother German Bed now. Dingle Wheels, the Dingle brothers, and German Bay originally got their charters from the brother Frederick Turner Hill from Cincinnati. I mean, out of Connecticut. Then they got their charters from 957 East 75th Street. 98 minutes, it says something else. But anyway, none of those temples up there have the original charter of the Moorish Science Temple of America as issued out by the prophet. None of them up there are actually actual former members of the original temple. Think about that. Ain't nobody up there an actual member of the original Temple 19 and Temple 13. Therefore, they don't have none of the original temple teachings. And why they got so many Temple 13? For the same reason y'all keep popping up making y'all self Moors. It might be 20 temples number 13 up there on the East Coast. Temple 13A, Temple 13B, Temple 13C. They can't even be together in one city. We call Baltimore, so y'all know. We have a name for Baltimore. It is the city of temples. It is a city of the multitude that can't come together. They just like them brother Cosmo Hill and them in California. They couldn't stay in the temple they was in, so they made their own stuff up. And it sounds good. Remember, you can't track bees with shit, but you definitely get some flies. Anybody else?
No, that was
Who asked that question?
creator of the boundless universe.
Then he should know. If he the creator of the bound, see, that's the thing. Moors get themselves so many names. Super duper Ali Grandeur. They get themselves all them names, then they ask you a dumb question. Which temple up there is right? Ain't none of them the original Temple 13. And I done been to Baltimore 4 or 5 times. Ain't none of them temples the original Temple 13. They don't even have the original charter. But anyway, any more questions?
No, sir. That's it. No, sir, no more.
Okay. All right, close us out.
Islam. We continue to rise. We give praise to Allah, giving highest honors to our holy and divine prophet, Noble Drali. We come back off all the honors given this day. Will be.
I forgot, tonight, 8:30. Announce that.
Tonight at 8:30, If the Truth Be Told, will be on. So tune in and ask intelligent questions and get a favorable reply.
There you go.
Let's not say, but at least separate. You get what I'm saying? So,
we're reading chapter 32, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Charity. Happy is the man who has sown his breast to see the benevolence. The produce thereof should be charity and love. From the fountain of his heart shall rise rivers of goodness, and the stream shall overflow for the benefit of mankind. He assists the poor in their trouble. He rejoices in furthering prosperity of all men. He censureth not his neighbor. He believeth not the tales of envy and malevolence, neither repeateth he their slanders. He forgiveth the injuries of men. He wipeth from his remembrance. Revenge and malice have no place in his heart. For evil he returneth not evil. He hateth not even his enemies. He requireth their injustice with a friendly admonition. The griefs and anxieties of men excite his compassion. He endeavoreth to alleviate the way of their misfortune, and the pleasure, success, reward of his labor. He calmeth the fury. He healeth the quarrels of angry men, and preventeth the mischiefs of strife and animosities. He promoteth in his neighborhood peace and goodwill, and his name is repeated with praise and benediction. As always, we thank those who support the Moorish temples of Islam. As you can see the moniker on the screen for those who are looking to support. You have all the information there you can submit, and it's greatly appreciated and is utilized in the continuation of uplifting fallen humanity. And just as you saw the man put $20 down last night, so there are men waiting to put thousands of dollars for the progress of this divine movement. Did I in turn use among the temples, seeing that you're comfortable? I can show many illustrations. I've demonstrated that you may use my money if your heart is right, pure, and just. This is a New Year celebration. Turn over a new leaf, you Moors. This beginning a new business. The heads of all temples, grand sheikhs, grand sheikhs, must confirm themselves to the divine principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. They must live the life among the members and be loved by them as even the prophet is loved. They must not practice the principle of segregation among any group in his or her temple. Would that be a good Moor? Let it be he or she that is head of any temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America that there come any grievances. Notify the prophet instantly, and do not attempt to quiet among yourselves. All heads of all temples are to constrict and conform to these laws from the prophet Noble Drali. Moorish Science Temple of America. This is dated October 17, 1928. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instruction from your prophet Noble Drali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you'll be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah, his divine prophet, Noble Drali. And that is why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving. And they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him in the very lowest, and those who speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Durali, Islam. Our salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are, you are part and parcel of the government and must live a life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this, of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Durali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband, take care of your children, and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious, and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant from your holy prophet, Noble Durali, to the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Noble Durali is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. As it is recorded, the holy prophet, Noble Durali, once stated, if there is something going on wrong in your grand body, and the head of the temple knows what's going on wrong, and he doesn't stop it, it's because he is in on what's going on wrong. And as our leadership has stated, that there is no sense in having laws if after they've been read, that they are violated willfully and continuously, and that there is nothing done to the violator of said law. Then you're in on what's going on wrong, and you are part of the problem. Islam. As always, we thank those who have tuned in and those who support us financially, as all donations are utilized in the continuation of uplifting fallen humanity. And as we'll be back on the this evening at 8:30 on If the Truth Be Told, so tune in with your questions, and you'll get a favorable reply if asked in an intelligent tone. At this time, we'll be lowering our Moorish Islamic Sufi Sunday School with prayer. If all would join us and hold fast. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principles. We ask this in our holy name and of the seven Elohim. Amen.
Amen.
Islam,
Islam.
Islam, Islam. Almighty.
Islam. Thank you for being the best part of what we do, and that is to inform, educate, and uplift. We welcome you to learn more about us, join our mailing list, or perhaps you are seeking to become a member of our community. We invite you to visit our website at msta1928.org. You would also find a host of various publications to aid in your understanding about the history and faith of Islam from a Moorish American perspective at the MoorishIslamicStore.com. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to be informed of our regular scheduled programs. May Allah go before you. We leave you in the best of ways, peace and love, in praises to Allah Almighty.